Okay, here we go. Hey, good morning everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. Sun finally came up. We're getting ready for our concrete on this front entranceway. We came straight off of the house, making a nice radius, and we just finalized the steps heading down to the driveway. Now we only have 3 of them in there. But being that this is a front main entranceway, we didn't want it to be too steep at all. So we just have 3 real long steps heading right to the driveway, as well as this walk offshooting. I almost said little walk, but it's 5 foot wide, winding around, connecting to our driveway that we poured. Oh boy, when we did this 2 weeks ago. So we have 2 rebar sticking out. Our third one we put over too far. So we're gonna go ahead and drill and pin one in to support this corner. Just to help keep it from heaving or settling. It's not gonna settle. This ground is rock hard. We can barely get pins in. So we have these ribbons around here. This walk is going to be all exposed aggregate. So it'll match the borders. Going right around there. So gravel, limestone is heading this way. We'll get this stoned in. Steve has all of our conduits in. Underneath there for sprinkler and low voltage wiring. Lamp posts, whatever they want to do. So the green areas marked on our drawing are where the conduits are going. Just double check and make sure we have them where they want them. That way after topsoiling is all done, anybody coming in here looking for them will know exactly where they're at. So we try and put them to where they're specified on the drawing. Stone just showed up. Cranberry supply. Thanks, Andy. So we're all graded. We have our rebar in. We short a couple pieces. We got some coming on the mixer. We'll get a rebar in here. All graded. We're pouring about 4 inches. I don't mind a heavy 4 inches. Once we get over to these steps, what I wanted to show you was we just take a chalk box. Can you see that? We snap a line from the bottom side to the top side, and that'll be top of concrete. Taking that right down all the way to the driveway. And we have a landing down here. We held this step back. We don't want a car coming in here in the dark and hitting this step. So we held it back about 5 feet, and then a landing, and then we'll connect this up to the driveway. We're gonna do this in the springtime. So that's why we did what we did there. I think it'll look pretty nice. This is all exposed aggregate. Mixer is en route. Stay tuned. That's a beautiful sight right there. Here comes our mixer. Nice blue sky, no rain. Looking good. Okay, we are underway. Concrete's a little bit tight. It's exposed aggregate mix. You can see how tight the aggregate is. 1B gravel. We just pick those rebar up as we go. I'll get a little bit of this and we'll go to time lapse. Let's get that mixer out in front of us and give us room to work. It's spread out a little bit. I might even straight edge all this from outside the form. Goes a little bit easier. These front load mixers are real nice. The driver can put it, you know, right on the money for you. Okay, first stretch is done. Making the turn, heading towards the steps.
I think it's all right.
Okay, so that is 10 yards of 1B exposed. We did our steps. Here comes our second truck. So we have 3 steps there. So we pour right to the top and jump down here. I just take my float and I tuck under here and find the bottom of that the whole way across. And we'll get number 2 up in here to pour this leg. Get this front entryway all done. Looks good. We'll take and mix this last 2 feet with the new stuff. Get a nice blend there. Jim's on rebar, picking them up. Home stretch. Okay, the concrete's setting up pretty good. Just getting a rolled edge on it. You try and not to leave an inner line on it. That way you don't have to wipe that out. Sometimes you'll see that in the exposed if you leave an inner line. Coming around there, that's all edged. Tommy's laying out our pads every 6 feet because we're 5 foot wide. We like them to be just slightly off of a square. So we'll do a design through here. It's going to want to crack here somewhere. So we want to put a lot of cuts in this intersection. So down here, you know, once again, you don't want to leave that inner line. So a little bit more edging here. Our mixer's just leaving. That's how fast this is setting up. Still pretty soft. We're in great shape. Tom's doing the last final layout. Looks like that'll work good. The last one will be right up there. Good. Maybe back that up a foot, huh? Okay. So we're underway putting cuts in. We put a cut at the base of the step. I don't know if you can see it in that shaded area. Base of the step, 5 feet, 5 feet, and then base, and so on. So these are a 5x5, real nice size for our crack protection. I'm taking care of the intersection now. What I'd like to do on this, ran my tool cut over, and I take the tip of my trowel and I just work it down into the concrete and separate it, just to help that crack stay in that groove of the tool joint. And just clean it up. And that's all there is to it. This is the pattern I chose for this intersection. And we pulled our cut back a little bit, so these pads are a little bit bigger, probably 6 feet, but not that big. And then we wanted to relieve this. So I think we have good protection there.
Not if it was in the U.S., Jim. Yeah. United States, man. No, he says it's just the yep. Okay.
Yes.
We're trying to tell you that because of what he did, he shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Yes, he did. What do you mean, no cheating? Are you stupid? He shut down one little pipeline. There's one little pipeline. All of oil in the world.
Well, here's in that line of thinking, when there's one little hurricane, what's that do to the price of plywood? Yes. So yes. Yes. Okay, I better shut this camera off. Okay, so everything is troweled, reopened up. Tommy's doing the last little bit of edging over there. That's what we want this side to look like. Nice and edged, nice and clean looking. Jim's finishing up down there. Stephen and Matt are pulling steps. So you just cream that face up. A little hole in there, not a big deal. The big stuff, we want to close it up. That's all in the shade. I don't know if we'll be able to see that or not. But 2 more steps to pull up there. I'm going to start spraying our retarder on it. Okay, I'm getting our surface retarder on. I like to do this in 2 coats. I put 1 coat on, let it set and soak in a little bit, and then I dust on another coat just in case I miss a spot. This is something that you want to get a nice even coverage everywhere. Put it on good and heavy. This stuff is cheap compared to having to rip out a square or come in and sandblast the section. And we've had that happen where it was just put on light and couldn't get it off. And it usually only happens 1 time. So we pulled the sides off, and we'll give these points a spray.
I didn't rub any of that up yet.
It's okay, it looks good. Because that way grade will come right up here. We want to see this corner all exposed. Right like that. Over there. Good. All right, a little bit of cleanup. We'll start getting forms off and we'll get it covered up. Okay, with all the concrete finished, we have the surface retarder, 2 coats on everything. It's all nice and saturated. We're covering up with our black plastic, really weighting down the edges so the air doesn't blow under. Keep it all nice and uniformed underneath there. That way Steve can wash it off real easy tomorrow. Like how I singled you out. Okay, everything's weighted down and covered up. It's exposed aggregate, so we want to cover with plastic. But also tonight, they're calling for about 28 degrees. So we want to keep this concrete nice and warm tonight. So the plastic will do that. It'll help hold some of that heat in that the concrete's generating. It'll keep that all contained within the concrete. So we'll be back in the morning to uncover and power wash. I think it went pretty well. We're just going to jump down below and finalize that patio so we can pour that first thing in the morning.